Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, ADP. This has been a crazy week. It's going to get crazy. More crazy because we have quite a big deal ADP number here, and they are sticking almost nothing on the DOM. I'm seeing basically only 1,500, not even 2,000. Well, there's 2,000 at 31.5. This market is just extremely low liquidity. We've seen this before. Somebody turned the robots off. It's your moment to shine, boys. Okay, so there was the open. They sold. Okay. Somebody seems to think that this move was overdone. Let's go to the charts. Make this big for you guys. So yesterday we had a pretty strong move up. I was quite surprised by how strong it was, to be honest. Seemed like it didn't really get moving until after the 10 o'clock news when the manufacturing data came out. I don't know if that justified such a strong move, but then later in the day, Donald Trump announced new tariffs. There is some... what is the word? Some suspect that traders knew all day that they were going to announce a tariff. Totally possible. I would even say perhaps likely, but hard to prove. For all we know, Donald Trump didn't tell anybody until he tweeted about it. So I don't know. He's done that before. Anyways, so that was this strong second move that we had. It was pretty crazy, this thing right here. After a move like that, and then you get an extension. I mean, look at this. This was FOMC. FOMC, that was huge. And this thing just dwarfs it. So we are in crazy town right now. E-mini was liking the better interest rates, and they were almost recovered from FOMC. And then the tariff thing came out and just killed them. So, I should add that we had another, I think this was Beijing's response right here. Anyways, you can certainly see, I don't want to mess with it here in this location just before news, but you can see that they definitely sold it here on the open. Wrong says inside job. I mean, I don't doubt that the administration leaks sort of things, but sometimes Donald Trump just posts stuff too, so it's like, in my view, impossible to know. Impossible to know. I mean, we just had a really big FOMC meeting. This market just wants to move anyways. It's entirely possible that you can get a move up like that on its own. You know, now if it was China, it seems to me that the Chinese totally, any time that the Chinese do it, do an announcement, I can see manipulation, like they're trying to set it up so that the markets really run, and then somebody comes along and saves it. Like, looks like we got most of you guys in here. I mean, it would have been nice to have taken that, but oh well. I tell you what, when I was working yesterday, I take a break and I go and open up the chart, and I saw that candle, man, that scared the crap out of me. Everybody in the room turns, what's up with Seth? I'm like, holy shit, what the? I thought that like a nuclear bomb had gone off or something. Like, what happened? It's crazy. It scared me. It literally, I saw it, like my heart sank. Donald Trump has family and relatives. Why not? Yeah, well, I mean, their family and relatives probably not capable of executing a market operation such as that. They would have to be telling somebody. And the thing is that they don't even necessarily have to tell anybody. Sometimes the banks have ways of finding out on their own. Like there's some key tell, like that they can see a government agency is doing something, preparing for it or something, you know. Like Wall Street has a way of sniffing it out without breaking insider trading laws. But we also have to consider, to an extent, insider trading is allowed in futures, right? Like, let's say that you sell corn. Like, let's say that you're a farmer, okay, and you go on the futures market and you sell corn. You know things that other market participants don't, simply because you know what the status of your own crops are, right? And so, to a certain extent, insider trading is allowed in futures where it isn't allowed in stocks. So, like, that's the nature of the market. So it totally could have been. I don't know if that whole buying. Oh, I mean, the point is, say this whole thing collapses, or say China comes in and says, "Hey, everything's cool now. We make a deal." And the tariffs, and then Trump says, okay, no, we're not going to do the 10% tariff, right? Then this whole thing comes back, right? But I don't know. It comes back to 128, essentially. But at that point, I don't know if they retrace the rest of it because I can't prove, I don't know for sure if that was people front running the China news or not. It seems likely. Where are you? I mean, we banned somebody in Discord over it yesterday because they're like, trust me, I'm really good at this. And I'm like, okay, post your stats. Like, here's the thing. You can say anything you want. You can be a really shitty trader and you can say whatever you want. You can be a really amazing trader and you can say whatever you want. You're pretty laissez. I'm pretty laissez-faire about it. But if you use yourself as an authority in an argument, then you have to prove that you're an authority. If you say, you should believe me because I'm good at this, then you have to show stats or I'll ban you. And I enjoy doing it. Just fair warning. Fair? Fair. You've been warned. Anyways, so, I don't know. He might have been a good trader. He actually has some good stuff on Twitter, apparently. But he just has to show me stats. We'll let him back in. This is extreme poll now. I bet Market Maker maybe lost a bit on that opening move too, and they're moving it. But I'm guessing that the traders move it on the open because they want a big opening range, because that increases the probability that it will get a lot of movement throughout the day. Okay, well, we basically got about 2 minutes. Let's make sure that we got the Twitter up here. And, oh, you know what? We missed... Welcome to Flashback Friday. And I am listening and today and taking notes. I love watching videos with the birds. Yeah, thank you very much. The birds are fun. What should we expect here? Anything, man. I say anything. Like, this is so we were discussing this a little bit yesterday, but in, I believe it was January of 2017, no, 2018, maybe it was 2017, when kind of the trade war kind of stuff began. There was extreme volatility, and they turned the robots off, and we had a situation similar to this. And the way that I traded it at the time was I took really short trades. I took a lot of like 4 tickers, you know, and I did awesome. That was one of the most profitable times I ever had. So that's one I'm going to try to do again. We're just going to take super tiny ones. Only like you catch it, you get momentum, and then it stops, you're out. That's it. because they will come back on you so quickly. Yesterday's takeaway from listening to you is that there is no one indicator to rule them all. No. I mean, the only thing is order flow is extremely predictive on a short time frame. Okay, 20 seconds. This is pretty cray. I don't know how to... Yeah. No, I don't want them. Yeah. Well, I suppose I could do it like that. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay. So that didn't work out. It's going... It does appear to be going short, though. Come on. There we go. Man. It looks like the number was pretty bad, but what was the average hourly earnings? Average hourly earnings was higher than expected, so this might be difficult to predict here. Man, so did I catch any slippage on any of those? No. Lost 4, gained 4, lost 4. That last one was maybe a little impulsive. Trade dispute may disrupt the memory chip industry. Well, good thing we don't trade stocks. So one of the nice things about trading a treasury is, you don't have to pay attention to every teeny tiny little piece of information. I don't know what to do. Was it really a miss on the unemployment numbers? Because I'm reading 164K. It was in line with expectations. The unemployment rate went up to 3.7 versus 3.6, and the trade balance 55.2 versus 54.2. Do not understand. I think we're going to wait. We have some other news, right? We have inflation expectations, consumer sentiment. I'm just refreshing it here. Yeah. It looks like average hourly earnings was up. That would indicate down. There's a spot where it should have gone. Well, it moved already. I don't know. So we got a little bit of a spike there, but not a huge one. I meant that in terms of lower than previous non-farm. Yeah, I guess it was just, a lot of that was already baked in. But I think that hourly earnings number being higher than expected was, made a difference. I shouldn't have taken just one on that one, but it wasn't going, so I decided that I didn't want to be in it. Oh well. Deficit narrowed to 55.2 from 55.3 in the previous month and compared to the market expectations of 54.6. Yes. I don't know if that number necessarily matters just because we had that big trade news, the day before. Well, that was a bad spot. I tell you what. Oh, did I make two? Oh, I only lost 3 on that one. That's weird. I don't think that that's right. Oh, that's interesting. It actually hit my market order. My market order actually hit at 3 instead of 4. Okay. Okay. So this one is a little sketch because when we came back up here, there's a lot of interest in it, but they've been able to push through quite a bit. So but there was somebody holding it there. I took a bunch of trades there based off of just the movement and not based off of my trade, and I think I shouldn't have done that. Hmm. Seems like there's just not as many participants in this market. Like there are just some robots turned off, and so I'm not getting as high of numbers as I normally would here. Like normally a spike like that would be like 15,000. Today we should discuss donuts. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had a good donut in a while. I remember when I was a teenager, there weren't very many Krispy Kremes around. There was only like one down in Provo. And people would literally import Krispy Kreme donuts, and everybody thought they were the most amazing thing ever. And now I'll go and I'll get a Krispy Kreme donut, and it's just, it's nothing special to me anymore. Well, that really sucked right there. They stepped down to it, but they're not pulling at 24. There we go. That's a little bit more reasonable. Come on. Come on. Damn it. So close. It's like they know. I shouldn't swear. Stop swearing, Seth. Oh, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Hit it. Hit it with all you got. Come on, 500 contracts. That'd be easy. No, 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 no. Don't go back that way. Come on. Come on. He doesn't look done. I don't know. I did get a little bit of a spike. Okay. We needed that one. Krispy Kreme is too sweet for my taste. The oddest donuts I ever ate were the first Dunkin' Donuts in South Korea in 1984. So when you were you said you were in the military, right? So were you in South Korea because of that? Oh, that was kind of an odd move down, wasn't it? So this is one of the rare times where I think I'm going to have to clear the current trades column on the Treasuries because I couldn't tell how far that swing went. Hey, Algo, how's it going? That's here. Yes, I was Air Force and assigned to Aswan Air Base in the command post. Such a fun year and so interesting. The people were lovely to me, and I felt safe with all of the pretty Korean girls to distract. Uh, okay, so I am getting some weird behavior here. I'm not quite sure what to make of this one. I'm kind of sitting here like I made 2 ticks. I should just be proud of myself and walk away. That's kind of how I feel at the moment. The boys from one of the few American girls around. No one wants a farm chicken when there are new exotic chickens. Oh, I get what you're saying. I see what you're saying. You're saying it was nice because you didn't have to deal with the attention. I get you. See, it's doing crazy stuff now. I need to send a tweet to John Grady. Freaking Twitter. Charlie Munger says psychology of people is more important than a formula. Is that true in your experience? That's a good question. More important than a formula. Well, first thing we do have to consider that he trades on a very, very different time frame, right? He's a very good investor, and they invest in stocks and they manage a portfolio, and they're the best at it, perhaps that we will ever see. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he knows a thing about scalping and trading. But I would say that the psychology of people is important. And to me, the way that I'm looking at the market right now, at least, and I'm not an expert, but I'd say it's been working out okay for me this week. The way that I look at it is I have a signal, but the only thing that this signal really says to me is that there's a lot of people participating in this area. And so I still have to use my own experience, I guess you could say, to try and determine if that's a place that is going to hold or if they're going to continue through. Does that make sense? So it's like, what can I get rid of here? Let's get rid of the E-mini because I don't necessarily, but we have all this junk behind there. Should move it down. I don't know. I need a spot to draw. I want a spot to draw. Well, let's do it down here where the Vista chart would be. Weird. Okay. So say we're moving around and we swing like this, okay? Okay. And then I get a spike right here, right? It's like Then all of a sudden I get a big spike. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that there is a lot of interest in this location. There is a lot of interest in this location. Now, what has been happening? We have been slowly moving down. So I can expect that there's a lot of people looking to short it here based on the fact that it's going to, or the idea that it's going to continue to make a lower highs. But I also know that that's the reason why everybody's doing it. And so there's a good chance in this kind of situation that it is going to reverse, but I might wait because the market maker might try and push it a little bit more first before he does it. See what I mean? And we call this game the meta. You ever heard that phrase used in the context of like video games? So for instance, in the video game StarCraft, there is, different units are better than other units in certain situations. And so there's this constant game behind, okay, well, I'm going to rush them. And then the opponent, he does a setup that is really good against defending against rushes. So then that becomes really popular for a while. So then I have to change things up, and I have to, instead of going for the rush, I go for a really greedy economy that allows me to build up a ton of stuff so that I can just steamroll over his really defensive build where he built a ton of stuff that he doesn't really need because I didn't rush him, right? And it's that constant changing of the game we call the meta. The meta. META. So that's kind of the game, and we kind of know based on watching this all of the time, like what is the tendency, what's unique about this particular situation that we can, glean from it. So like right here, it looks like we're actually getting something, right? We are. So we're getting something here at 23.5. And the context is that we got higher than expected unemployment and we're really high. So I think I missed it, but I think that we're probably likely to make a new swing low here. A zergling rush for the win. I read something about the trader push. I will check my bookmarks. The constant changing of the game, the meta. Yeah, I wish, I've been trying to find information about this kind of game and the way that people tend to go so that, you could try and take advantage of that. But I haven't found a good resource on meta yet. So most of what I know is just based off of watching gamers. So I'll tell you one thing that I've found from watching gamers is that if we're playing Overwatch, something that happens in Overwatch is they'll change a patch. And I've found that it takes the humans about 10 days to adjust to the new meta. So if they made a change and it makes a certain character really, really good, and all of the talking heads people don't immediately realize that, you can go in and you can take advantage of that character and nobody's going to really fight against you for a good 10 days. And then after 10 days, everybody will have adjusted to it. Now, in trading, it might be faster because the good traders trade every day, but it takes them time, right? But, I guess another good, example would be rock, paper, scissors, right? Rock, paper, scissors is a game that is purely about the meta. Oh, they've chosen rock 20 times in a row. Should I choose paper, or is this the time that they're gonna go paper and I need to go scissors, or whatever it is, right? I know what you were referring to, but need to find my words and references. I find the mentality to win at CS is really similar to being able to be profitable in the markets. Oh, really? You mean in Counter-Strike? So is there Strong meta in Counter-Strike? 60% of people will choose rock. Yeah, I've heard that. Do you know that there is like world championship rock, paper, scissors? It's crazy, right? See, so this is actually the exact situation that we were talking about, right? We came back up here and they were expecting to make a lower high, but they went through it. But you can see here, we didn't actually get significantly higher interest. Do they cosplay? Blizzard. So StarCraft was made by Blizzard, and Blizzard has the best cosplay contests and the most elaborate costumes. Because that one is money. That one is worth money, and those people make some crazy stuff. That's where they're making like these huge machines and stuff for them. Forest, why is it so thin right now? The comparable casino game would be craps, right? You are playing the odds, not the table. Well, I mean, I would look at trading as like playing poker, right? Because poker has meta to it. You're getting to a spot. Think of it. There's an area here. Then let's just say that it was happening here at 26. It's not happening here at 26, but let's just say that we had an area. There's a lot of interest in here. So if a ton of people took positions or are looking to take positions here, if we tick down, 3 ticks, right? People are going to start getting stopped out, right? Conversely, if he continues to push through, which is much less likely, it's like maybe happens 40% of the time from the stats that I've collected so far. But if they continue through, then there's going to be people that were taking the reversal that are going to get stopped out, right? So you know that you're at a point. How do you know which way it's going to go? And it may be one hedge fund, for all we know, that is control of the market, and we don't know if that's where he wants to stop it or not. That's why that's why we look at all these things like levels. Like we have a target and we say, well, we're trending down. We haven't hit the targets yet. Like I think that we could continue to move down because the low of the day is way down at 15. They might try and test that. They might try and test from before the trade war news, frankly. But, it's the meta. And it can be a situation where he has no reason to move it down. But all of the people seem to want to take it as a reversal. And so the market maker has an incentive to try and push it up just a little bit further. And I think that's kind of what you saw there at that time. I have an idea. Start a contest for bragging rights and compare profits over a time period. Then you could post a name on a wall of honor. Well, I don't know. That's hard. A lot of people, especially the people that are really good, don't necessarily want to show their profits. I think a lot of it is just like everybody's got something embarrassing in there that they don't want to have to explain, and they don't want it to affect the way. Like this guy that came in yesterday. He was like, I kind of know what's going on, and just based on the things that he said, here was my take. It was a trend day up, and he shorted it and got his face blown off when that news came in, and he maybe even had a profitable trade that he lost quite a bit on. Well, he took his stop loss on it, and then he came up. He was shorting it again, so that right there tells you he's a mean reversion trader, and he's probably taking similar spots to me, except for that when we have a strong move up, I'm usually like, oh, I'm not touching this, and it seemed like he had no qualms about doing that. And so if he had shown us his stats, probably what you would see is that he had not done so well that one particular day, and that might have made us question him, even if he had like good stats over 6 months. Or you might see, like, if you look at my stats over 6 months, what you'll see is I did really, really great from basically December to March, April, and then I lost pretty much everything that I had gained within a matter of weeks because of I'm going to say emotional and psychological pitfalls, because the market was still pretty good. And now we've been doing well here. And you also have to consider things like, well, okay, you're doing well this month, but we've had a good month, right? Like we're back testing or forward testing and new adjustments to my strategy. We've done well this week, but there's been good market moves. So, that's a time period when I tend to do well anyways. Makes sense. If I had been more careful on that open there, I think I could have been really happy with my results today. But so far, I'm just up 2. Anyways, Algo Lover asked me a question, which was, which keyboard do you use? So I use the Razer Black Widow Tournament Edition, like the older one. So it's, I don't know if I can like show it. I think I can just unplug it here and I'd be fine. Yeah. So it's not the full keyboard, right? It's only, you can get my mouth in there so that you can hear me. I don't have the number pad, and it's a mechanical keyboard. I'm all about the mechanical keyboard, but it sure is loud, right? I made this note after reading yesterday. What is 4x? I really don't know what that's a reference to. I actually think I kind of need to get a new keyboard, because whenever I push this period button, sometimes I'll get 2 periods. And yeah, it's annoying. But I've been looking through. Okay, we are getting a pretty good push down now, and I'm getting a bunch of okay, so here's a spot. I'm a little hesitant to take it as a reversal here, but they're definitely doing it. Oh, you know what? We have news. We might have news at the top of the hour here. Let me check, because that kind of seems like too much. Huh. Clean your keyboard, but don't keep air duster in the house. You mean like this stuff? Like these? Are they bad for you? Well, it did reverse a little bit. I don't know. That trade is really weird to me. That makes me uneasy. They didn't necessarily pull, but that's like pulling behavior. I don't trust it. Another thing that I've been noticing since I've been doing this is like um the signal is not the signal. Like the signal is like pay attention. And then you trade the reaction to the signal. So it's like there's a lot of interest in here. Okay. They pushed it. I think that they're going to push it a little bit lower. And then we can see, do people panic? Okay, no. So I think that could continue. Let's see. So it's hard to pick a spy here, but it doesn't, because they didn't panic too much down here that often means that the market maker can keep pushing it if he chooses to. Sometimes they just decide to stop for no reason, but I don't know. This is a really weird location, and it's very choppy here in here. So now that it's gotten here, like they pushed it down 2, and then it went up 2, and then back down. Like it did that a ton. So they're like trying to stop people out here and stuff. But I'm not seeing a huge number of people trying to get involved here. I just see a lot of big orders coming in. Okay, now they're really coming in. Are they trying to buy it at the low? What's this going on? The E-mini is buying kind of crazy. Yeah, bye algo lover. Thanks for stopping in. If sellers break that low, then 14.5 is the target below. Okay. Kind of looks like they could keep going. I'm not seeing like level break holding yet. There it is right there. This is going to be a hard spot to hold though. Like, I probably shouldn't have taken it right here. Okay. Okay, there's your 14.5, bro. Good job. Doesn't look like he's done yet. It's getting a little too crazy though for me. Come on, nah. Okay. Whew. Okay, 4 is fine. 4 is fine. I might get 8, but that when it's going like that, boosh. That was kind of weird because that was a place where I think that we should have gotten a signal. Well, now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. So I would have gotten out at 15, maybe. Where did I get in at? 17.5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so I actually did get out in the right spot anyways. You see? When it starts to get crazy, there is a strong possibility of a reversal. Lingering issues also remain in other areas of the US-EU trade, including import duties on industrial goods that Europe wants removed, as well as the threat of tariffs on European cars imported to the United States. Yeah. And I just don't understand some of these countries' logic in respect to trade wars. Ace Trade says, what the shit just happened? I have no clue, dude. Wait, we should pull up TweetDeck here. Zero Hedge also wondering what just happened. Trump is open to delaying or halting the 10% tariff on 9/1 if China were to take action between now and then, says CNBC. That's it right there. I will link the tweet in Discord. I think that was kind of like that is news that normally wouldn't move the market a ton, but because we were already in a pretty good place, we got pretty wild push down, and the E-mini was really helping out. A 20-point run up in 1 minute, yeah. I think that has to be it. Now, I also see from First Squawk, China won't give an inch after Donald Trump threatens more tariffs for failing to make sufficient concessions to the U.S. Yeah, that was definitely the news. He didn't tweet. I think that this is just a report from CNBC. Now, that said, we got a really aggressive pullback here. That was a pretty aggressive pullback. China is expecting the Nixon effect they experienced, the big Nixon trip, and this is shaping what they expect. Okay, so can you elaborate on that? What is it that they think is going to happen? They think that there's going to be some meeting and then they're just going to give China whatever they want. So we're just coming back up here at 20.5. It's a little bit tepid, but we might be getting the golden signal here. Let me find the bookmark. Yeah. So just going back to what I was going to say before all that crazy happened, the logic that some of these countries are using in their trade negotiation doesn't make any sense to me, especially China, because the deal, I've said this many times before, but like when you look at what are the administration's big asks, okay? You have to protect our intellectual property, you can't fudge your economic numbers, and you can't manipulate your currency. So I simplify that down to don't lie, cheat, or steal. That's basically what the United States wants from China, and China is acting like, oh, we can't do that. That is not fair to China. Like, effing really? If you can't do those three things, why should we be trading with you at all? And I know that that's like a super crazy extreme thing to say, and that if trade between the United States and China just completely shut down, that would not be a very positive thing for the world at all. But I still think it's a legitimate question. Why should we trade with anybody if they're not willing to agree to not lie, cheat, or steal? And it's the same thing from the Europeans. It's like, okay, look, don't have the auto tariffs. It's not fair. We could go in and we could just have no tariffs at all. Wouldn't that be great? And the European Union doesn't want to do it. And I just, and then from the American perspective, and it's really hard because I can only see it from one perspective, and I know that perspective is going to be incredibly biased because this is an issue that's bothered me for years. But from my perspective, it's like they're trying to cheat us. Well, they're pushing here, but I think that they might reverse in a second. Yep. I should have taken that one. Good grief. There must have been, okay, something else happened. Because the E-mini did something there. Well, there you get out. It's like when the market is really stopping like this and you get one, as soon as you get the move and it hesitates at all, you get out. Sun Tzu carefully laid out how to win the war and survive the battles. Everyone should read Sun Tzu. Yeah, and I mean, it may be the case that it's just posturing and negotiating and all that sort of stuff, but geez, I just doesn't. A lot of it don't make sense to me. Well, we got the short that I kind of thought was going to happen. I wasn't confident in it. I'm not confident in this market. Now that it's one tick higher, that really, now I have a really hard time knowing what it's going to do. You're starting to get what appears to me to be like random action. Okay. He said the Chinese side had chosen to hold the meeting in Shanghai because there's a significance to them of the Shanghai Communique and the symbolism, obviously, of that important agreement. Former U.S. President Nixon stayed at the Zhao State Guest Hotel when he visited Shiyao State Guest Hotel when he visited China in 1972, and it was there that he finalized the text of the Shanghai Communique. Hey, where did you catch your short from in Treasuries wrong? Did you just catch the break, or did you catch before she went? Man, if you had caught it from 26F, that would have been amazing. Key document for Beijing and Washington to establish diplomatic relations later that decade. I mean, another thing with in relation to China is it really feels to me like they're stalling. You notice that they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, we're going to do something. It's going to be great. Everybody's happy. We have this big meeting. The market is like looking forward to this big meeting at the G20 or whatever it is. And then the meeting happens and they come back and they're like, everything's good. It's all good. And then nothing happens. Weeks go by, nothing happens, and then Donald Trump starts to get angry. Okay, we're going to increase the tariffs. Oh, no, we want to have an agreement. Okay, let's have another meeting. You know, it's like this. It's happened like 2 or 3 times now. I could be wrong, but it feels to me like that the Chinese are stalling, like that they're just trying to like placate the markets as much as they can and trying to make the damage as not bad as they can on the hopes that Donald Trump won't get reelected and that whoever follows after him will just completely reverse on everything and it'll all just go back to the way that it was. And he tweets about that all the time, but I think he's right. And I really do think that the Chinese might be doing that. That they think that they can outlast the United States in a trade war, that the democracy won't allow it to go. Because they don't. This is the problem with doing business with communists. They don't have those same values, right? They don't care about free trade. They don't really believe in democracy, frankly, because they don't have a democracy there, right? They're communists. They're just using the system so that they can spread more communism. That's what I think. I know what I think is not very balanced or anything, but so Wrong says I trade on TU. Aces says he's getting a long signal at 29.4750. But it's too wacky to get in. I hesitate to say this, but time and time again he has stormed from my room, and I see this in diplomatic papers and State Department reports. Isn't that a common gambler's fallacy, FOMO? It could be. I mean, it seems to me so far that his way of negotiating is not working on the Chinese. But the counter argument to that would be, would any way of doing things work on the Chinese? What can you actually do to get them to play fair? I think that there's a deeper cultural problem here, which is that the Chinese really don't believe in free trade. They're just taking advantage of the stupid capitalists to get more money. Like from the communist perspective, like if you go to r/communism and you go in and you'll say, well, this was a communist country and they didn't do very well. And, they had a tyrannical government. And they'll say, that wasn't real communism, right? We all know that. But then you go in and you say, well, what about this guy? He seemed like he was a really good guy, but when they implemented communism, it still didn't work. And then they will say, well, that's because the capitalist governments, are afraid that communism will work. And so they do everything that they can to stop it from working. And so they put the sanctions on and they isolate them from the world. And the capitalists create the economic recession, and it has nothing to do with communism. That's what they believe. And that's what they say, or at least that's the argument that I see when I read like the communist subreddits on Reddit. So if we assume that that's the way that the communists think in China, then this whole thing kind of makes more sense from its, they don't truly believe in free trade. They're just taking advantage of capitalism so that they can get strong enough. And then when they're strong enough, they can just throw off the facade. They'll be strong enough to stand up against the imperialist Americans. And they can be out in the open about that they're really still communists. Okay, Ace giving us some more signals, but saying that he wouldn't take it. And that little stop run there, probably exactly why. You're in a good risk-reward position to try and take it long. I mean, good grief, if you caught it here and we like this whole thing reversed, you could get 55 points on the mini. I'm gonna really regret. I'm not gonna take one. And you watch. 90 minutes from now, we'll be like, why didn't we buy it? The Chinese are us in 1949, a boomer generation who understands globalization. They are making trade deals now and leaving us behind. Look at Norway and what they buy from China now. Maybe. I mean, one of the things that's interesting or that I see around a lot is that China is already pricing themselves out of the market. Production is moving from China to India, and even India is a bit too much. And so a lot of production is moving to Africa. And Africa is becoming China's China. Now, that doesn't solve the problem because China still manipulates their currency and steals intellectual property. Oh my gosh, did you hear that? I can't believe that happened. That shouldn't happen. My back must be messed up. it's kind of given me a short signal here, but it's not giving me a good risk reward proposition on it. Even when it was at 23, I didn't like it. I think there was a couple of other comments here that I missed, but I don't know if I'm sorry if I don't catch all you guys' comments. Room has been really active lately. This is kind of what I was saying, where it's like once we get above 24, it's kind of hard to catch everybody's comments. But I just want to make sure you guys all know I care about all of you, and I individually, and I try and watch and respond to all of you. If we ever do get a lot more people in the stream, we'll probably, we'll make sure that there are ways to make sure that especially you guys, kind of like the really long time dedicated fans, have a way to still get through the noise, if you know what I mean. So I'm getting another spike here at 22. There was a pretty decent spike of big guys when it was at 23, though. Okay, let's see here. Raymond Young, ANZ's chief economist for Greater China, pointed out that supply chains are so intricately interwoven that it was no longer a zero-sum game, where one market's decline was in another economy's gain. Well, he's right. Everybody's been harmed from the trade war, right? But China gets hurt more. That's certainly been the case as well. It's kind of weird. It's kind of funny because Donald Trump was right, but then he wasn't right. Because the big argument that he made was winning a trade war is easy because we have such a big trade imbalance that China gets hurt way more from it. He's been right. The Chinese economy looks awful. And the United States economy, like we're at S&P, is just below highs. But did he win the trade war? No. So in the end, unless we get a deal, you're going to have to hire a stream moderator and a trading partner and a marketing manager and a media specialist, office manager, secretary, building permits, and on. I know, right? I've been trying to teach my wife how to edit videos and stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of weird. I guess part of it is she's got a lot else on her mind because she's pregnant, right? So ever since we found out that she was for sure pregnant, I kind of give up on it. It's like she seems interested in it, but then she doesn't. When it actually comes to actually doing work, she doesn't want to do it, We're going to need a village. I hope not. I don't want to be... how do I put this? I'm having a bunch of... What you just said there is kind of... giving me a bunch of thoughts here. Oh, by the way, what did Wynn say? The ladies who lunch, that awkward moment when you leave a store without buying anything and all you can think is act natural, you're innocent. Oh, I hate that feeling. Ace just wants his 2 points so I can go back to bed. Well, let's see what the E-mini does on the open, man. I don't know, it's holding this 44 area in the E-mini pretty well. So anyways, I remember reading a book. I read this before I became single, but I was, I was a DJ and I was trying to do better in the rave scene. And I don't feel like that I am a naturally good with people. for some reason, when I'm with people one-on-one, or when we're in a situation like this where I can just talk all I want and you guys basically just have to listen, I seem to do okay. But especially when it's like, like there's 20 people and everybody has an equal opportunity to speak, and you're just joking around or whatever. I never feel like I excel in that kind of situation. I just kind of feel lost, and like there's too much stuff going on, and that's where I kind of feel like, being ADHD and not having been very aware for so much of my life about watching people and what they're doing, that I'm at a disadvantage. So there was this book that was like, it was some sort of dating guide thing. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, but it had some sort of name that was kind of really flamboyant and like really stood up. It was like How to Date Like a Badass or something like that. And I wouldn't call it like a red pill guide, but it was based on certain psychological research, things that you do to you know influence people, and to be more likely to get into take a relationship from meeting them into an actual relationship. And it was actually quite good, because it was like, this is how you build rapport with people. This is how you go from you're having fun conversation, and then you go into a little bit more of an emotional conversation, and then you come back out in the natural flow of things, which was something that I was not aware of. That is a cognitive function of introverted intuition. Your brain processes information inside of your head because you need the sixth sense of a big picture. Sensors process faster. Think smart talk. Yeah. Well, and not only that, but a lot of the things that I like to talk about are just the things that most people don't care about, or actively don't like to talk about, because it's too controversial, or they don't want to think that hard, Anyways, he in this book, he said that there was research, and I've always tried to find where this research is, and I've never been able to find it. But he said that there are basically 10 types of people within a social hierarchy. And the first 5 of them, I think it was, the first 5 of them are like, don't apply to us. There are people that are like children, or people that are mentally handicapped, and they don't really apply to you, but those are like the bottom rungs of the social hierarchy. But then, so he said that there was 4 types that we care about. And the first type of person is a person that just wants people to pay attention to them. And so all you've got to do is just to give them a little bit of attention, and they think that you're just the greatest person in the world. That's a 6. Now, a 7 is a person that they've noticed that they're not getting attention. And so to try and move up the social hierarchy, instead what they do is they try and tear other people down. So they're always finding the big guys, and they're trying to tear you down. And the way that you deal with a 7 is that you treat them like your greatest ally, because you say, hey, you're on my side, and together we can move up the social hierarchy. And they really respond to that, right? The 8 is a person that has been in that trying to tear other people down stage for a very long time, and they've been around a lot of other people that are trying to tear people down, and so that person is just extremely competitive, right? That's like your typical hyper competitive jock kind of guy, and they think that competition is the way up the social hierarchy. But a 9 is the person that realizes that your true social worth to other people is really based on how you can help them. If other people are better because they know you, If you are providing value to them because you've made them a better person, that increases your social power more than anything else. And a 10 is a person that understands that and is effective at it. And then that's where the social hierarchy has been. And so ever since I read that, I've always thought the important thing is it's not about me. It's not about going and tearing, like there's been other channels, right? You guys remember that stuff. Is the one in particular, and I don't kind of name names or anything, but it's gone. That channel's gone now because he was basically going around and mocking and trying to tear everybody down, and he made a video harassing another channel, and YouTube finally took it down for cyberbullying, basically. But he was trying to tear everybody down, and he's hyper competitive, and he's always advertising everywhere, and that chat room never goes anywhere because he's not providing any actual value to the people in the room. Here's the open. And so I've always said, what can I do to help everybody else? You know? So when you guys come in, when you say something like, oh, you know, if Seth gets really popular, there's going to be a lot of things to deal with, and we're going to have a lot of different roles to help him out. Like, it feels good. And I'm not used to feeling that kind of feeling from people. But at the same time, the first thought in my head is, no, I don't want everybody trying to hold me up. I think I'm pretty fine on my own, and I don't have to do anything, you know, super crazy. Like, I don't want to be ninja or anything like that, right? Is the only thing that matters is that I'm able to provide value to as many individual people as I can. Like, the ultimate goal here is to get as many profitable traders as we can. I think that's the goal, you know? So, that's kind of the way that I think about it, or I try to think about it. I don't think I'm a 10. I don't think that I'm always like the most charismatic, effective at everything kind of person, you know? But I'd like to think at least that I'm a 9, that at least I understand that that's a thing and that I'm trying to provide value to other people. Yeah. 7s are trolls instinctively. They want attention. Exactly. Okay, so there's a couple of comments here. Let's see. Big traders, billionaires use psychology to determine the market. They get that people are confident or risk-driven. Yes. Depends on the personality. Psychology model MTBI was developed for business in 1949. Hippocrates and Socrates discussed the 4 temperaments. Yeah. I mentored on a raw feeding forum for ferrets. So one problem is people want to engage more than you want to engage, and then how to establish boundaries. The Big 5 is, yes. The Big 5 is Jordan Peterson's model for where your temperament or traits you present to the world. Yeah, so I really like the Big 5. I've heard it as Big 6 because they're adding, I think that some people adding narcissism is one of those traits in there that I think that's reasonable. I think to sit down and think the 3 negative traits, that we all have some amount of those negative traits in us, and to realize what those are and why we actually have them, I think is a good thing for people to understand. So let me introduce you to another model. So search for neurological types on tnation.com. It's like t-nation.com. And T-Nation is like a kind of like a bro science blog for bodybuilders. And they have this article about neurological types. And the basis of their theory is that your brain has different neurotransmitters in it, namely norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. And everybody tends to be slightly deficient compared to the other neurotransmitters in one of those types of neurotransmitters. And so based on which neurotransmitter you are deficient in, you will behave in a different way to try and compensate for that deficiency, to try and generate more of that particular neurotransmitter, right? So If you are deficient in dopamine, then you tend to become the risk-seeking type. The extreme example of somebody with low dopamine is somebody with ADHD, right? And so they go through and they explain you eat differently and you train differently for this type of person. For instance, this type of person really likes novelty. So anything that you can do to switch things up and keep them interested helps. We haven't really enough information to test this in trading, so this is just a theory. But I suspect that if somebody is that risk-seeking type, that they might do well to be searching for a particular type of pattern amongst a large number of commodities. So like if you're trading futures, you can have gold and oil and the E-mini and all the instruments up, like 10 instruments up on your thing. And then when you see the setup in one of them, you take it because then you get the novelty, right? The people that are deficient in norepinephrine, these type of people tend to be people pleasers. The social praise is the thing that gets them going. I think that's the way that I am. Like, I really feel like that coming on stream and having a successful community makes me so happy. Like, when I think about not trading and not streaming, then I think like, well, then what even is anything anymore? I guess it's a little different now because I'm gonna have a kid. But before that, it was kind of like, what am I here for? What's my point? Anyways, but the social praise gets me going, and talking. Sometimes I find it hard to focus, but if I get that little win or I get that little bit of social interaction or praise from people, like that really helps to focus me down and keep me going and everything. And then the last type is the serotonin type. And you generate serotonin from being calm and doing repetitive things. Man, why is the dog so crazy? I don't think that she wanted to get up there, but she's coming down the stairs to take care of the dogs. Wow, they just really want out this morning for some reason. So I think that my wife is the serotonin type. Because she really enjoys doing things that I find boring. Like you could do knitting. She actually likes to make these like jewel pictures. It's like you get a picture and it comes with a ton of little tiny beads, and the picture is sticky, and then you put the beads on the grid and you make like pixel art with it. And, okay, so that was a strong bid at 24.5 that I find a little suspicious. And it's moving up. We'll see. That looks to me like a trap. I should get rid of this Bitcoin because it's screwing up my readings. What time is it? It is 9:38 Eastern time. I should maybe get a better clock that shows me different times. Okay, they're definitely doing something here, guys. Your wife is a craft hobby type, maybe an ISFJ, probably an ISFJ in the classic MTBI model. I've not heard her yell. Yeah. But anyways, when you do like a repetitive kind of a task, then that generates the serotonin. And the extreme other side of low serotonin is depression, right? But they all have advantages and disadvantages. A person of my wife's type can do really well trading treasuries because it's just watching the same slow moving, boring thing, right? And it's just doing the same thing over and over again and getting really good at that one particular thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me focus on this price action here at 25.5. The E-mini does appear to have flipped. And they are now testing higher. They are above the open price. Well, this is turning out just great so far. There's your 29.44 again if you still want it. It's probably still a little bit too close to the open and volatile. Look at that. So now they're testing the open again. I'm not particularly comfortable in this situation because I'm mostly at the mercy of the E-mini. So buy that shit, please. I'll read these comments here in a bit when I'm feeling like I'm not as panicked. It should just be going and it's not. And I don't want to be in these for very long. See, that's not what we want. That dropped back really quickly. It's really hard for me to read my Vista chart over here because the liquidity is so low and everything is white. Damn it. Okay. 3 most commonly studied neurotransmitters are dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Dopamine is related to experiences of pleasures and the reward learning process. Yes, and novelty, and what is adrenaline seeking, right? My vice is alcohol and sweets. I don't drink because then I have an unfortunate urge to ask random strangers to teach me to dance. That is the cognitive function of TI, which needs accuracy. You said your wife is a flight attendant. That would be interesting. Ruido says you're a schmuck. Well, thank you. I guess. I don't know if that... I mean, thank you for at least coming in and letting me know and, interacting with me, even if you're a total douche. So I'm not like, this is kind of interesting. I think that there was definitely something happened there, and I think I caught a good trade, but I only got 2 favorable ticks from it. That's interesting. There is a real... I think I want to take this again. There is a very heavy amount of there's something's going on in the E-mini. I don't know if this is a turn or if this thing is about to like completely fall apart. But something weird happened in the E-mini there when they touched that low. When they touched 36. This is still not behaving correctly. See, like it ticked down that they're not really hitting into the 26, even when the E-mini moves higher. Oh, Larry Kudlow is speaking on Fox right now. That might explain some things. So we got a signal, and now it's gone completely dead. Yeah, it's still, they're just not, they can't even seem to get through 26.5. But then, like, the buyers get through 27, no problem. The E-minis just looks like it's sad. They're just gonna squeeze me out. Well, we're still in an okay spot. I think that this might turn here, but I don't. It's probably going to drop without me. That was a good drop. Still got 15 minutes to the next move. Where are you at in the E-mini? I really feel like that it's going to turn here soon, but I can't tell where it's going to do it in the E-mini. I can tell that the Treasuries are doing something. They're 29.38 right now. There was another downtick. See. Should I just... Oh, I thought you said you were in a trade currently. I was in a trade in Treasuries and I got out of it. Okay. So the E-mini went for a new low, but it was a little slow. Sometimes those reverse, but I've found that a lot of times that they just will continue to push until things get a little crazy. Okay. Treasuries are a little bit disconnected from the E-mini action now. They're pushing down even though the E-mini just made a new low. Maybe they want to be positively correlated with equities. I don't know. Okay. There is quite a bit of stuff up there, and we're kind of to a point where I would expect to start to see some buyers start to panic, but it still looks incredibly calm and, unclear what it's going to do here. Possibly because even though the E-mini is just pulled back, the E-mini could totally just turn down and make another new low. It shows the price broken up into 15-minute segments, opening price, closing price, and any movement above or below that. Is that what you're asking? I didn't quite get why you were asking about 15-minute chart. 2 years ago, my husband and I spent a year just taking little trips to casinos. We live in Tucson near West Virginia. Indiana has a riverboat where Ohio has hotels. Oh, yeah. I found it weird. When I was in Missouri, you could go on riverboats and gamble. I thought that was weird, that you're allowed to gamble on the boats. I was like, I really thought that there was only gambling in Las Vegas, but it seems like pretty much anywhere you go in the United States, there's a place that you can go on vacation and gamble. Okay. So it's kind of weird that the buyers can't hold 250, but that the sellers aren't willing to offer a whole lot out there yet. Okay. They were waiting for the 5-year. When the 5-year ticked down, then they evened out. My husband and I learned how to play 4 hours on a bankroll and how to make his play last for optimum max, but also to play longer. Good call on that offer. Hey, thank you very much. You know what? The thing that pisses me off though is that I tried that one. That was the third time that I had to take this trade to get anything out of it, because I lost trying to short it twice before this. And it may just like shoot back up in my face, In fact, I'm just noticed that it's telling me to get out at 25. Yeah, crap. Okay. Okay, now that 24.5 is going weak. That's kind of interesting. I think I still might need to get out here. Oh, okay. 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 Dang. A little bit more, come on. That one was too much right there. Okay. That one. Ooh, that one made me so nervous. I'm glad that one worked out. I think I got out. I think I got out of the really good spot though. I mean, I only took the profit because it was +8, but you can already see it's trying to push back up again. Can you see? Do you see here? I took this one. I took it at 25, and then 26, and then 26.5, because it gave me this signal right here. And then, even though it continued to go up here, I continued to see the price action saying that, And then when I got filled at 26.5, see, I actually probably could have gotten filled at 27, but did you see when I got filled at 26.5 that it was actually like kind of lucky? was kind of a lucky fill, but it was a legit fill. You could, if we go back and look at it, they cleared the price. So cool. And we've made, what is that? Is that 10 ticks? Let's see here, because 125 plus 15. No, that's 9 ticks. So we might get one more trade in here because it's only 8 o'clock. We'll see. I could have done, I don't know, some of these. So like this first one is a news trade that didn't work out. That's the second time it's done that to me. But it's okay. This one I think was kind of luck because I didn't really take a signal. And this one was kind of like, probably shouldn't have taken that one. Honestly, probably shouldn't have taken that one. Because I was just, I think at that point I was just getting excited and clicking. 27, what was the deal with this one? When did I take that? Let's see. We opened it at 634. That was way back here. 634. Okay. And what was the trade? It was a sell at 27. Oh, I see. Oh, that's interesting. So that one, I think I was making the right trade, but I just wasn't giving it enough of a signal. So I think that one, let's come over here. Well, since I'm going through them all, we might as well do the, where is it? There we go. Let me log in here quickly. And let me move that down so that other people can still see. Okay, so. Journal Q. So I'm going to say that these first, well, now where did that one come from? That was from yesterday, right? Because it's, oh no, it's the second. I don't remember taking a trade in the S&P 500 today, so I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so these three, news. Okay. This one at 27, I was looking for a reversal, and I did it again. I'm going to say, I'm going to put in the notes here on this one. This one could have worked, but I was just early. What may just be the product of a very illiquid and random market. Okay. Save. Okay, so this one at 28. Oh, then I took it again, and I did get the reversal. I don't think that I've taken a single continuation today. Oh, no, wait. I did take a continuation of some sort, didn't I? Okay, 28 reversal. This one happened at the top of the hour at 7:02. So I got this one, and then I got this one? No, I'm confused. It says 7:02? 7:01. 29. So I took one at 6:35. And then it says I took another one. Can I see that on here? this one right here. 701.35, 17.5. I don't know where I got 17.5 from, but oh, 17.5. Okay. So that one was the continuation. That one was the continuation. Okay. And then this one, reversal, reversal, reversal. Save. And this one, I don't know why this is in there, but I didn't take a trade in the E-mini, did I? Oh, this was from this was yesterday. I didn't I never did it because I'm not keeping track of the E-mini trades at the moment. Cool. Okay, so there's the news right there. Totally forgot. Factory orders, spot 6 versus spot 7. That's not the number I care about. Okay, consumer sentiment 98, spot 4 versus a 98, spot 5 expected. And inflation expectations, please. 2 spot 6 versus a previous reading of 2 spot 6. So it looks like the news is perhaps a non-event. I am getting here at 25 something. Oy. So I came back into that really quickly. So that alone makes me nervous because I'm not quite I just saw that and clicked. Also, the E-mini is moving up a little bit. No, I don't like that. It's kind of funny to see the way that the 10-year ticks because there's no robots to immediately bid when it ticks up. So it has to fight a little bit more to make it tick. Ooh. Definitely still getting some indication of a reversal here. Oh, look at that. Spot needs a new candlestick. Yeah, I don't know. Like the thing is that I've already done so well, so I'm kind of feeling like, wait, should I really be putting this risk on right now? Like the E-mini is kind of threatening another new low. And the level 2 is being incredibly random, I want to say. Okay. Well, that was a little bit better of a downtick than the last one. Can they hold the push through 24.5? There's already an iceberg there. I've noticed that it does this sometimes where it'll give me a signal and you get in and then it just seems to go sideways forever. I learned yesterday is the lottery effect. Pick your trade plan and stick to it. Do not follow the leader, but trust your pattern recognition. Ebb and flow. Changing coin does not. And let's see, that right there is not what you want to see. In fact, I think that I have to just dump out at -3. I should have been more concerned when it hit that 500 at 224.5 and jumped up. My eyes are watering like crazy. So another thing about the eyes watering is it seems like they water more when I take Adderall, and I'm not completely convinced that it's just allergies. I don't know why that would be, but okay. So I think we should come over here and put notes down on that one and say, journal queue, edit. That was a reversal. Looked like a great signal, but appeared to fail. Oh. Let's try doing the voice dictation, all right? That appeared to be a good signal. It only went for a tick and then failed. Wow, it totally put it in there perfect. We're going to use that more often. That was cool. Okay, that's okay. We're still up 5 today, right? Oh, we're up 7. Of course. Look, it's going to go now. Them bastards. See, remember when I said that the signal is not the signal? I think that that's what happened right there. Okay, what are you saying here? When what I learned yesterday is the lottery effect. Pick your trade plan and stick to it. Do not follow the leader, but trust your pattern recognition. It will ebb and flow, and changing the coin does not. Change the randomness of the odds. Okay, yeah, true. I mean, you want to be consistent with what trade you take. The other lesson I learned was that to understand your risk and do not try to compensate for losses. Stay on the course for proper money management of your plan. Yeah. The reason that casino players lose is because they overcompensate to make up for losses to stay on their path. Do your fingers get numb from... No, they don't get numb from the... No, I haven't had anything like that. Lesson 3, you must be comfortable with a certain amount of discomfort and know that what is your comfort level. Do not go past that because that is your instinctive recognition of a pattern change. Yeah, well, when you get nervous, it's certainly telling you something, right? The thing that's really weird is that sometimes the feeling really nervous is a good thing, you know? I think that this trade, so sometimes the signal is not the signal. And so when I was back testing this, I found that very often you would get this and it would go 2 to 3 ticks beyond you, and then it would fall and it would go. Of course, that might have just been a continuation, but it seems to me like that the treasuries are ready to drop, but the E-mini is still unhappy, ergo they continue. I find it interesting that ES continues to sell the way that it is, considering that spike that we had up on them saying that they were going to do something, that maybe the tariff wasn't going to happen. Yeah, anyways. So what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, because you were talking about Adderall does your fingers get numb. I've never heard that before, but I very much know what it feels like to be on too much, and I hate that feeling. It is quite um yeah, it just makes me feel super icky inside to know that some people use Adderall to get high. Because when I take too much Adderall, it does not feel good. It does not feel good at all. I get weird twitches in your muscle, anxiety. It just, there's like this overwhelming sense of impending doom that like something's wrong or something is about to be wrong or that you missed something and that you should be concerned about it. And it's like that all the time. I don't like it. When I first started, they just put me on Adderall, and I was like, okay, this is good, and then we went just to 15 milligrams, which is not a lot, and it was too much. And I was dating a girl at the time that I was really really into. It was really hard to get over that girl. And it was kind of this thing where for the 2 weeks, or well, it wasn't even 2 weeks, I had known her for about a month. We would text every day. It was super consistent. She was perfect. I was like, this is exactly what we need. Because I really hate it when people like play the silly games with you. Like they say that they're going to call and then they don't, or whatever the deal is. And so I would I would be like driving home and I didn't get a text. And that's like right when the Adderall is coming off. And the come off from that stuff is like the worst freaking part. Like complete depression every day, crying. Like I'd get in my car and cry and then drive to the gym and sit at the gym for about 5 minutes and sulk about it. And then I would be okay. It was just awful. And so I told them, like, I can't do this. We need to change it because this isn't working. And that's when I started doing the Strattera. The Strattera is really hard to get on because it's like an antidepressant. And at first, it makes you feel really sick. And it takes a long time for it to start working. But once I got on it and adjusted to it after a month, it was great. And then I take just a little bit of Adderall in the morning to get my the chemical levels out there, and then I'm usually good for the day. But most of the week I haven't been using it. You might tell that like today, it's a lot easier for me to finish a sentence and like go through a complete thought without stumbling over my words or anything like that. Like that's the biggest thing that I always notice. And I'm a little bit less impulsive, although I still took some impulsive traits during the news, didn't I? Yeah, and if it wasn't for all that stuff at the news, we'd be doing amazing. I still want to short this so badly. But the E-mini is still going down. It would be crazy if we hit 2,900 today. Can you imagine? The idea that the tariff will not happen is what they are now calling the Tuesday-Thursday police change. A tweet changes the policy planner's actions and response. I understand my daughter had boxes of pills from the VA. Something would work and she would feel better. Then it would stop working and they tried something else. The problem is for now, we can only, I think there's more coming. Treat the symptom, not the cause. Jordan Peterson discusses why cognitive dissonance is being studied. Oh my gosh, you ever watch Scott Adams? He talks about his thing is cognitive dissonance and mass hysteria. And a lot of people don't like him now because he's kind of become a Trump shill. And I think that that's kind of true. He's not a Republican. but he clearly knows what his audience is and plays to his audience now, I think. But he's pointed out some situations that were absolutely without question mass hysterias. And I feel like that Twitter is basically in a state of never-ending mass hysteria now. But he's really good at it. One of the things that he's always mentioned that I really look for is like, you go on Twitter and you say something, and all of the responses to your reply are just anger, then it's a mass hysteria, because that says people will always use the strongest argument that they have, and if they get really mad, it means that they disagree with what you have to say, but they don't have an argument, and it makes them mad because it's convincing to them. Ace trades yes for some reason. Oh, which is funny because Jordan is full of cognitive dissonance. Yes, for some reason he annoys me, but he has good information, especially if you study philosophy and psychology. So Jordan Peterson is a weird one. I don't completely understand what the deal is over there with Jordan Peterson. Because when YouTube will recommend videos to me, because I'm a pretty conservative person, right? So it'll recommend videos to me, and he has some really good research, and he is a very logical, straight, tell it like it is kind of guy. You know, like the things that he says about wage disparity is all correct and very much based in science. And he was the one, like Wynn has been saying, he was the one that kind of developed the big 5 personality traits, which I find to be an extremely useful framework to use to understand people's personalities and how they think. And that is backed up by a considerable amount of psychological evidence. He absolutely knows his field and knows, what certain studies say and things like that. So it's really interesting to listen to him. But then when I go out and I watch people discuss him, there's a lot of people that really, really don't like him. And I'm like, well, what is it that he said that they don't like? And if you go to Rational Wiki, that's one of a good place to see where the criticisms of certain conservative people are. And they have a list of things that he said that they disagreed with. And it seems like that every time that it's something that they disagreed with, it's where he said something extremely conservative, but it was just kind of his opinion, So it seems to me like they hate him because he's conservative and because he beats them in arguments. But he has said some things that I think are incorrect or kind of a little bit crazy and that I disagree with. But it's kind of weird because it's like I never see any of that stuff in the videos that I watch or the stuff that's popular and that made him popular. So I'm like, where is this angst coming from? But then there's another part to it. And that is that there's a group of people that have created this movement called Men Go Their Own Way. And their theory is basically that because of a breakdown in societal norms and the freedom of the sexual revolution, there is basically no reason for a man to get married and get into a relationship because he's just going to get the short end of the stick in the divorce. And so men are just better off going their own way and never getting into a committed relationship. And a lot of these people, I suspect at least, are also like involuntarily celibate. So they're involuntarily celibate, and they kind of try to calm the, push back against that by saying, well, I don't need women, rejecting the rejector sort of a thing. But for some reason, the Men Go Their Own Way crowd really, really, really like Jordan Peterson. Because he's said some things about, well, and we were discussing it yesterday, right? Women have not traditionally had political power. They've voted, but it's only until recently that women have become their own voting demographic with real power, and that changes the types of decisions that we make. And some people, I would have to say, I don't think we can know yet, but some people think that it's bad, that we're more likely to allow invaders, and we're less safe because women can vote, essentially. And men go their own way, use things that Jordan Peterson has said that I don't think were intended to be used in the way that they are using it, but they use that as justification for why women shouldn't vote. And so you have all of these liberals out there that have interacted with the men go their own way movement, and the big tell is Jordan Peterson. And so it's kind of almost like Jordan Peterson has been unfairly attached to this movement that I don't think he really wants anything to do with. So that whole situation, that's kind of the way that I see it. But that whole situation is super weird to me. Let's see here. So you guys said a bunch of stuff while I was saying that. How far back do I have to go here? The trolls from overseas are slamming and shaming Americans on the late night shows. They've been calling the most amazing things for writing in simple, kind sentence. The intellectual dark web, Sam Harris, Malcolm Gladwell Peterson is a neuropsychologist. Jordan had to wiggle through being appealing to right-wingers, which killed left-wingers' interest in him, and being taken seriously as a prominent figure in his profession. That's true. Right. Like, now that he's like this right-wing icon, there's like everybody's trying to second guess his work. I find psychology fascinating, but to listen to people drone on and on about the logic, absolutes, and are we brains and vats, my eyes roll back. Hitchens is the bomb. I don't know who Hitchens is. Okay. I'm sure we won't see anyone with the way Hitchens can eviscerate people for another generation or two. I'll have to look him up today. Can you leave a comment on the video, and not so that I can remember to look that up later? I would hesitate to listen to someone who found the effectiveness of eschewing their body's needs. Everyone has sex, and maybe it should be out in the open, not something to hide. I mean, fair point, but in the conservative view, I mean, I think there's kind of this weird thing that the conservatives think that sex is bad, sort of a thing. And maybe it's just my upbringing, but I was never told that. It was always something that everybody around me was open about. But it was always something that happened inside of marriage. So anyways, when I joined the Air Force, a lady was either a slut or a lesbian, can I say? Yeah, you're totally. I'm trying to keep my my language safe for kids. Like what happens if I get cancer, right? And I die. And my daughter, who is still in the womb, she will have hours upon hours upon hours to sit and watch and see what her dad was like and what he thought. Isn't that really cool? But if I'm sitting here swearing all the time, then she's not going to be able to watch it. So I really need to stop swearing. But man, sometimes when a trade goes against you, it's really hard not to be like, there's a reason behind swearing. In so I'm Mormon, and then one of the more bizarre beliefs that Mormons have is Joseph Smith talked about that there was an Adamic language, that there was the language that Adam used, and that It's the same language that God used, and so it's like a more perfect and pure language or something like that. And I always told people there are expletives in the Adamic language. There's got to be. It's just there's a reason that people say you got to have something to say when you're frustrated. It serves a cognitive purpose. This is behaving really strange here, but I really think that the 10-year is going to turn down again. I think it's too late for me to take another trade, but I've been sitting here waiting for it to do something that would make me think that we could go higher. Or sorry, that we would move lower, but we didn't do it. And when you look at this, when we look at it in retrospect, it kind of almost looks like a late signal from this bottom here instead. But I don't know, that one's a little weird. This, when you look at it from there, it looks like a buy. Like that it came down for lower low and they bought it. So that might have been a misread. Let's edit this. Might have been a misread. There was a lot of buying around there. That works so well. I tell you what, guys, if you don't have Journalytics, you should check that out. It is awesome. That from Jigsaw. Anyways, what were we getting at? What were we talking about? Jordan Peterson, a bunch of other things. I did not have a father in my life, but I had a few stepfathers. I would have watched videos for hours to learn more about him. Yeah, so that girl that I was telling you about earlier, that was like who I was dating when I got on medication and went through that whole thing. And I'm just saying that was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's not her fault. She was going through her own thing because her husband died, and she was only a couple of months off of her husband dying. So, it was kind of a situation like that where, she had her own issues to deal with. And I was just probably mostly reacting to the medication, But man, that was like the hardest thing that I ever did. But anyways, and so her husband died of cancer, and he made so many videos for them. Like he made a video for his kids to watch on their birthdays for every year until they were like 20 or something. I was like, wow. It's pretty cool. He seemed like he was a cool guy. He seemed like he was a greater guy than me. was how I felt. But when people are gone, people tend to think more highly of somebody than what they actually were. So DCF. And there's nothing wrong with, wait, I missed something. The advantage to the fact that I never swear is that when and if I did, then everyone in my family really paid attention to what I said after a 4-letter word. If you use all of those words all the time, then they lose their punch. Agreed. And it's their judicious use that makes them impactful. And there's nothing wrong with that. I totally agree. I feel that there is no way to correctly convey certain emotions without swear words. And I think that it's a natural part of our cognitive process. And the evidence that I would use to support that theory is that even people who are super conservative and believe in not swearing still use expletives. They just change it. So instead of saying damn, they'll say darn. Right? In Utah, we say frick or whatever. It's there. You always have something. I have heard stories like that. I need to link references to you to learn more about the advantage of playing music to the baby. Does she have her tummy name? What's your tummy name? I mean, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, so. When you begin to teach your child how to drive, you realize what you've been saying to the other drivers. Fetch, that's right. That's what we say. We say fetch. What the fetch? It's true. I've gotten in trouble a couple of times because I've sworn in front of the kids. I think I swear on stream almost once a day, don't I? No, that's not true. Only when I'm in a losing trade. Ragefires ask us from hell. Anyways, on the music thing, I've been I'm totally prepared. Do you remember I'm a DJ and I'm totally into the electronic music, so I've been collecting all of these soft classics. And I have a list on Instagram. Or not on Instagram. What is this thing called? Spotify. Why is it not open? Spotify. Oh, I didn't make it on Spotify. I made it on YouTube. I have my D playlist. I should make it on Spotify. Because then I could share it with you guys. Well, I can share the list on YouTube too. Maybe I'll share the list on YouTube. But yes, I plan on playing quite a bit for them. I really would like to get... Oh, is it doing it? No. Looks like they're turning down and maybe they're going to go down for another push lower in the E-mini. This is starting to look a lot like last October, huh? Where it's like they're just going to sell it no matter what, you know? And it doesn't matter what it does, it sells. I don't think, when I'm looking at this chart, that looks to me like the golden signal. I didn't think it was the golden signal at the time. I thought that it was happening right there and that was a sell, but now I'm starting to realize that might have been the golden signal and I was going the wrong way on the golden signal. And so now I don't think I can sell it. I have a playlist with your name on it and we'll add your name and then it will allow you to add videos. Oh, there you go. Well, see, I can come over here. I can show you. I'll give you guys the list that I'm building. Well, I have 2 lists. I have a bunch of them. But I have another account. See, my first YouTube account was my music channel with the White Dragon. If you search for that, you can find it. You can listen to some of the music that I've made. But then if you come over here, I have this one and this one. So here is, let's see here. I forget how to, it looks like a couple of, sometimes things will get removed. Shuffle, play, edit. Here we go. Share. So that's like, oh, now I need to come over here to this one and post it in here on the live dashboard for you guys. So that's that one. And then this one right here, share. I'll let you guys add videos to it, okay? This one for the baby. I think YouTube would be better because you guys are on YouTube. But I'm gonna maybe make a Spotify list too. My 29:33:75 was a decent entry. Oh, I didn't catch that you had taken a short there. Because Ace of Trades and Ace OK in my book, I have been using the word vacation for months now, and apparently no one understands that word. Your voice is marvelous. Really, it was your voice that made me choose your channel as opposed to Tasty Trade, who wears funny hats and is my age. You know, that's really interesting to me that there's something about my voice. I don't think there's anything special about my voice. And I don't think that there's anything that I'm doing that to like my microphone and stuff that he's not doing. But I tell you what, I don't sound this good in real life. Anytime that I make a video, like especially those one-off videos, because I really process the audio, my wife is like, "You sound completely different." And I think she's thinking in her head, he doesn't sound that good normally. I wish he sounded that good all the time. Man, they're just bidding it up. Sucks. I can't believe that I made a misread. It's okay. But I only took it once, right? Yeah, I only took it once. And I only lost 3 ticks. So that's okay. But there was a mistake. But it was the kind of mistake that is bound to happen and that is okay. Let me move this. Most voices are like 2D. Your voice has layers and tonal quality. It resonates. I had that problem in the command post. I spoke to the pilots over the radio and thought it was cute to sound sexy. Well, so here's a weird something that I think is really weird. We'll see what you have to say about this, but most women think that a sexy voice is deeper, and it is not. It is not. A sexy voice for a girl is soft and high pitched. Women's voices get higher pitched when they're ovulating. And I just always thought it was weird that a lot of women think that do you speak deep? For a guy, it's more sexy when they speak deeply, right? But so when you were doing that, what was sexy? But I sure sound better than okay. You know, this is another weird thing, is that everybody hates the sound of their voice the first time they hear it for real. Because we hear it through our bones and that sounds different. But when you put somebody on a microphone like this, because this microphone has an input directly into the microphone so that I get instant latency through it. So I can hear exactly what it's going to sound like to you guys. Well, actually, I take that back because I don't hear the processing on it. But I can hear myself. And at first, I really hated it. But now, I really like it. And I think that maybe I've changed the way that I speak a little bit because I can actually hear myself. I've adjusted. Man, they're just selling this. They really look like maybe they are intent on hitting 2,900. If we pull back the E-mini, how far back is that? So 2914 is a key level area, but all the way from 2914 to 2867. I'm not 100% sure what to make of all this. This move is not as big as the move in October of 2018. Not yet. It could be. Very easily. I guess that might be a warning that it could go a lot lower. It's easy to talk slow and breathy over a radio. Adrienne Barrow in The Mist, the pilots would call up their call signs and they were so macho I would offer them a choice of Bambi or Tinkerbell. There you go. Sounds like you got it. I don't know. The voice has always been something like my wife has a pretty distinct voice. I don't know if she's ever come in and like actually said anything to you guys, but well, you can watch the video though, the announcement video, right? And you can hear her in there. I think that the voice was a lot of the initial attraction. Anyways, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to go in here and we need to say we need to see. Okay, so first of all, that was way too many trades. So if we look over the whole week, okay. Now I know it's more than 109. Come on. 281. And how many? Is there a way for me to? I don't want to count them. Can I count them? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 33. So 33 times 3.56 is 117. So I took way too many trades, but I still come out $150 in the green. So that's pretty good. I think I've taken too many trades though. Now that day was amazing, wasn't it? That one really hurt. That one where I lost. So there's a couple where I lost 4. Oh, those were all this morning. Those really hurt. So it seems to me like this strategy works pretty good, or at least as well as what things were before. I'm still making mistakes though. And I think that it seems to me like this is the sort of a thing where you can get in and you just wait, and as long as it's doing what it's supposed to, but then as soon as you see something that it doesn't, you can get out. And I think that I need to do that, a little bit of that, a little bit more. But overall, I'd say it's pretty good, right? But we just, too many trades, the commission is too much. And today was a lot of it because I took a lot today, didn't I? Okay. But 281 before commissions. We'll put that in there. And we'll just keep this number here to be like the cumulative thing for now. Yeah. And I'll try and update it. I like to just keep it as like, hey, look at how much money I've made, and not really to be an accurate assessment, but to attract people. But it seems to me like it doesn't actually do that. So let's actually use it the way that we should. Your wife is a flight attendant. Does she enjoy that job? I think it would have been fun, but they wanted us to be 21 and could join the military at 20. No, I don't see Ace's link there. By the way, Ace, I was trying to look. I'm trying to find a time when I can meet you, but I was like, well, maybe Friday would be good. Or sorry, Saturday would be good, but it's not only is it too soon, but I've got to do some stuff tomorrow. So, but I'll probably message you a little bit later. I was gonna message you last night, but then I couldn't figure things out. I was like, well, there's no point. But maybe a Tuesday night or something when I'm not at the gym, or maybe I could do it after the gym, but then it's like late in the evening and I would smell. So maybe Tuesday or something like that. But anyways, when I figure it out, I'll message you. Oh my gosh, the win. I've seen that math problem going around. And if I remember correctly, the correct answer is 1, right? Let's see here. 2 plus 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. Yeah, but then if you learned a different order of operations, then the answer is different. Have you been to Sundance, any of the festivals? That is on my bucket list. I personally haven't been to Sundance itself. I mean, I've been up there in that area and stuff, but I've never been to the festival. It says we'll figure something out. Yeah, we got all the time in the world, and I'm an expert at this. Some of my best friends are people that I met online. So, what was I doing? Oh, okay. So we need to generate the charts. That's what we need to do. You know what? One other thing that I should say here Um, slightly on a slightly different subject. Friday is usually my worst day, and um, it sucks that we lost that last trade, but we still did amazing today, didn't we? So yeah, I'm pretty happy. I couldn't I well I mean I made some mistakes, but so far I'm feeling really good about this, guys. Now we should be careful not to read too much into how well I did today, because um I would normally have done well in this kind of action anyways. It was kind of hit or miss, but when I get it, I'll just catch the trend, and yeah, I catch so much on those that they really work out. But we're going to need to see like slightly slower market to really judge this thing. But so far, I'm feeling really good about it. Okay, so it gave me one on the 31st. So we're around 125 right now. All right, I'm going to oh, hey, you know what I think I can do? We're going to cheat here. This should be fun. No, I'm going to hold on. I'm just going to type it. I was going to say maybe I should dictate it and copy and paste it, but then nope, you have to be a subscriber to see. Sorry. And I guess at this point I should, you know, that's the wrong window. I have too many windows open now. At this point, I should give a shout out for the Patreons. I think that some of the Patreons are a completely different group from the people that watch the stream, because most of those guys are into crypto, and most of you guys are not. But if you haven't checked out the Patreon, I would absolutely recommend doing it. I post charts every day with a Bitcoin valuation model that we've made a decent amount of money on. Right now, it's keeping us out of the market, and we'll see how that ends up working out. But right now, it says that we're overbought. And at some point, it's not going to say that anymore. And by the time you know, it will be too late. So I would recommend $5 a month. If you're trading in the cryptocurrency sphere, or you want to invest in that at any time in the future, I would recommend checking it out. And again, I really appreciate those of you guys that are in there. And so, give it a look, share it around if you have any friends or family that are into crypto. And yeah, I'm going to type this here. All right. I will promote your channel as I wander around social media. Oh, well, thank you very much. And snowboarding sounds fun. I snowboarded when I was a teenager. I haven't done it in a long time, though. But I really, really enjoyed doing that. Maybe I need to get back into it. Are they finally given us the long... Well, now that they're coming down, this might actually be a reversal. But they did eventually push down. But where was I taking that short from? 25. See, that was like the exact opposite of where we should have been going, huh? Well, I don't know. I think that would have been a good long signal. But it's not really necessarily giving you an exit, and this might be giving you another long. And the E-mini sure doesn't seem done. Oh, one other thing. When I did watch the video that you linked me, and when you gave that author's name, I forget the guy's name already, it didn't really ring a bell. But then when I saw that they were talking about Flash Boys, I was like, oh, yes. Which is an interesting story because I left Goldman Sachs about the time that they were building up support for that exchange where everybody is forced to have the same latency. The thing that I always thought was interesting about it is that it kind of feels to me like that argument is like, whenever Wall Street tells you we're on your side, you should be a little skeptical. You know what I mean? And the truth is that the people that it hurts the most, the people that the algorithmic trading hurts the most are the big funds. If you're an individual investor, and you know what price you want, it shouldn't affect you, really. And another thing is that, they're like selling order flow from Robinhood, which I don't know why anybody would day trade with Robinhood, but apparently they do. And then they use that order flow to kick people out. But that's sort of a thing you can't do in futures. When we send in an order, they have to send it to the exchange. So we can see everything, and yeah, they can kind of try and front run you, but it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. And they're more about taking the edge. So that's one of the reasons why I say you should day trade futures. But I think that even though the guy that wrote that book, it's totally right, and everything is happens, and it is kind of, I want to say, I don't like the word rigged, but you are at a disadvantage in certain places, but that is the nature of markets. Is you have advantages in some respects and disadvantages in other respects, and you want to know when you have the advantage and when you don't, so that you can trade in places where you have that advantage. This kind of action right here, I think, is one of those places where you as a small investor have a bit of an advantage, and I think it showed out today. We got 2 8-tick trades, and the advantage is that you can get in and out instantly. Whereas a big player, if they got in or out on something and it goes the wrong way, they're just screwed. So the size becomes an advantage. Anyways. Couple of stuff. You guys are like way beyond me now. Ace Trades Princess Bride reference, teasing you now. Okay, well, it is time for me to get going. I wish I could respond to all of the comments, but you guys are having a lovely conversation just on your own, so why should I even interrupt? Patreon notes are up now. And yeah, if there's something you want me to check out or anything like that, you can add the reply to this video. Oh, by the way, I need to go and change it because it's not the 1st of August. It's the 2nd of August. There we go. Yeah, and comments on the videos help. Yesterday's video, Win left so many comments, and I can't respond to all of them because I mean, some of them I just didn't have time to look at. But I love all of them at the very least, and I read all of them. But sometimes I just don't know what to say back. But that helped that video in the algorithm. In fact, I think I can show you guys. Yes, here I got to refresh the page. So you can see here, like, so this was, what's with that? Here's the second, here's today. So you can see here, like normally, like the debate video, for instance, had a lot of viewers, but then not as much blue afterwards. And this one, you can see that little spike right there. That's when left all of the comments. So, and the sooner after that, the thing that sucks is that the video after we close the stream down, like the video goes processing and you can't see it for like an hour. But then if you comment within that hour, it really, really helps it. Anyways, we had a pretty good number of people watching today too. But we did well, so maybe that's why. Anyways, I think that's about it. Anything else, guys? I guess I will see you on Monday. It's gonna be an interesting week. Hey, you know what? Rest over the weekend, right? Take it easy. Do a whole lot of nothing. Like, can you explain the colors? So which colors? I do. I still got 4 minutes, but which colors are you talking about? Because I don't think I really have any color on here that really has any significant meaning other than to just divide things up. The one thing is I have like blue and red here. Blue just means that that was a stack and red means that that was a pull. Colors on your 5 bars. Oh, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Oh, what is going on now? Did somebody just tweet something? Something effing happened there. Why are they is it a reversal? Well, it's too late. I don't see anything about it. The bars or candlesticks going up and down have different shades. Oh, right. Well, so on my range chart, so if you get NinjaTrader, that's what I use as NinjaTrader for the charts. And you come in here, you can see I'm not using candlesticks. I use box bars, and the down bars are orange and the up bars are blue. The reason that I use orange and blue is because those are the 2 colors that are the easiest for people that are colorblind to differentiate. And not that I am colorblind between green, red, or anything else like that, but other people might be. And so I call this color scheme Bronco, blue and orange, like the Broncos. I think that that's like the best color scheme to use for charts, so that's why I use that color scheme. But really, that they're blue or orange doesn't really matter too much. When we're talking about a 1 range chart, it doesn't really tell you too much. And then on these things right here, the blue are orders adding and the red are orders being pulled off. So when you see something like this right here that we just saw, that moved down because a bunch of big orders pulled. A bunch of big orders pulled off the bid. And when you see bids pulling and we're moving up, that's a really strong indication that we're going to continue moving up, because that's basically like them canceling their orders and chasing it. But when we're moving down, that might mean it's fake or that there's some sort of a news event. I didn't see anything come out on Twitter yet. Okay, so here I see who just tweeted, Beijing was very disappointed with the latest flip-flops of the US. It's understood Chinese side always has a plan B, which includes a series of countermeasures. China won't fight the battle unprepared. You will see it, a well-informed official told me, on condition of anonymity. So basically, retaliatory tariffs are coming, of course. Anyways, I don't really think other than that, I choose... Now here on the candlestick chart, they kind of matter, right? Because blue is an up bar and orange is a down bar. But for the most part, the colors don't really matter. Yeah. Anyways, I had another thought, but it's gone. But now it's 8:59, like right at 9 o'clock. I should go. So, oh yeah, I remember what I was saying. Rest, right? Like if you spend the weekend and your idea of resting the weekend is playing Overwatch all weekend, you need to do something like where your brain can take a break. So like you can go for a hike. That's a good rest, or you can sit and meditate or, but get a really good rest because this was a really crazy week and it's really stressful. And I don't think that we all realize the kind of effect that a week like this has on us. And what will often happen is the next week might be even more crazy, and or things can consolidate a bunch. But often what happens is you make a ton of money when the big news event happens, and then afterwards you give it all back because you're in that heightened state. So take the weekend to like reset. Right. That's my focus. And that's what I would recommend. So there's that. And, I'll see you guys in the comments. And if not, then I will see you guys on Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.